Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we continue with chapter number 9. Okay, we want to see how our cell do the self-regulation and how they do the self-organization. Okay, so the cell, as we can see, that is a lot of type of cell, and depend on our organ, the cell we have a different function. Okay, so there will be a problem when we want to, as a physician, to do the modeling of the biological system. Okay, so because it's complex and diversity. Okay, so for example, the human body contains 200 type of cell, more than 200 type of cell, 0.6 times 10 to the power 14 individual cell, and 10 to the power 6 type of protein. Okay, so there is a lot of uh, type. Okay, so bayangkan kalau dalam satu dunia ni ada 6 bilion penduduk. Okay, semuanya berbeza-beza dari segi tindakan. Okay, so how can we model the them for one type of parameter? Okay. Okay, so the entire organism is highly organized and include a number of autonomous and semi-autonomous network. Okay, so this one is just like in our body. So even though we have a cell, but certain cell is in, let's say, in the organ, the heart organ, the lung. Okay, so that uh, will depend on the autonomous or not the system. Okay, the lung system or respiratory system. Uh, in this case, the human nervous system. Okay, so here we can see that the new human nervous system is composed of 10 to the power of 9 to 10 to the power of neuron cell with 10 to the power of 3 or 10 to power of synaptic connection. Okay, and each of which contain 10 to the power of 5 tubulin protein and 10 to the power of 2 MAP interconnection between neighboring microtubule formed inside axon. Okay, so this one is autonomous. Okay, even though these are the same cell in different part. So for this system, it only affect this system. Okay, the dynamic functioning of the virus system relies on enzyme. Okay, enzyme, motor protein, and other macromolecules involved in the intracellular trafficking and signaling. Okay, so these are the dynamic. So in, what are the in and what are the out from this, for example, this human nervous system. Okay, and many functional protein exhibit conformational chain during their interaction with other molecules, and post-translational modification resulting when proteins such as actin or tubulin self-assemble into the filament. Okay, so here we want to say that we have a lot of A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and even though A to B, different cell, we have the different rate constant for this interchain. Okay, so this will affect the our or we need to consider in our modeling. Okay, so our system can self-organize. Okay, depend on the system, so it's self-organized. So according to this scientist Ilya Prigogine, physical, chemical, and some molecular system far from thermodynamical equilibrium tend to self-organize by reducing the entropy and forming distributive structure. Okay, so it depend on the, let's say, in this biological system, if we increase the temperature, so what will happen to this biological system? Okay, so if we try to reduce the effect of the temperature by forming reducing the entropy or forming the distributive structure. Okay, so here these are reaction diffusion equation, and using this equation. Okay, so you can we can modelize, or we can do the model of this uh, self-organization. Okay, so these are the bifurcation. Okay, so here we can see that here this A X, the path, okay, the pathway. So we can see that increasing the number of value. Okay, so we can have a lot of configuration or entropy configuration. Okay, so here is the selection of way or the pathway that we can use in this modeling. Okay, okay, and when the molecule chain, okay, from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and E, let's say E to A. Okay, so it will have this cycle. Okay, so let's say this protein interchange or changing to this configuration, 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 and back to this configuration. Okay, so these are called the hyper cycle. Okay, so system may use mutual dependence to avoid the winner taking all. Okay, okay. So, but here we have the breakdown if we have a parasite. Okay, so here you can see that, or we can see that if we interrupt this cycle by using this parasite, so let's say this this step will be gone, so this step cannot go to this step. Okay, so again. Okay, so next is the homeostasis. Okay, so all organisms maintain relatively constant internal condition that are different from their environment. Okay, so macam kita punya body temperature, so it will adjust kalau kita ke gurun suhu panas, so our body will adjust to that temperature. Kalau kita pergi ke tempat sejuk, so our body also will adjust to that temperature. Okay, so here you can see that by doing the homeostasis mechanism, so it will help maintain stable internal condition. Okay, so taklah kita mati kesukan atau mati ke panasan. Okay, so it will only produce a small internal fluctuation of our internal temperature, yang maknanya 37 dalam 37 darjah Celsius. Okay, so these are the working of this homeostasis. Okay, so these are the stimulus, the temperature outside. Let's say the temperature outside, the sensor, our skin. Okay, so the skin will send the signal to the brain, our brain, and our brain will send a signal or send a instruction to our system. Okay, the system will respond to this stimulus so that we can maintain our in this case the temperature of our body. Okay, these are the same. Okay, so this one is in engine. Okay, or okay, in our home engine, and these are the same as in our body. Okay, so the same system. Okay, so you can see that here, if we turn for it in our home, if we turn off the air condition, okay, so the floor is warm, the sensor is warm, and this is the sensor, so the thermometer detect the change, so the temperature try to set up the temperature by turning on the aircon again, the the temperature, the room cool down, so giving this same temperature, so it will still at the same, try to keep at the same temperature. Okay, the same goes to our human body. Okay, so the temperature of our body is 37 degrees Celsius. So if we try from our sensor to the brain, and the brain will try to adjust the temperature so that it's still 37 by sending signal to our system. Okay, so these are again the same. Okay, so these are our pancreas. Okay, so if this one blood after a meal, so the blood sugar increase to the pancreas sensor. The sensor increase insulin production by beta cell. So glucose move from blood into cell, reducing the blood glucose. Okay, so if between meal, so increase the glucagon production of alpha cell. So the glycagon glucose then hit to the blood, increasing the blood glucose. Okay, so this one to keep the glucose level the same at all time in our body. Okay, so these are again the repetition in our thermodynamics. So the first law of thermodynamics that apply to this homeostasis. So the first law, okay, if the law, the energy cannot be created or destroyed, so delta E over delta T to delta Q over delta T minus delta W over delta T, the rate of work, the rate of heat absorbed, and the rate of the energy lost in the system. Okay, the catabolic rate, delta E over delta T equal to 4.9 delta oxygen over delta T. So where we know the catabolic rate of our body, just seeing that the chain of oxygen consumed per second. Okay, so waktu kita berehat kurang oksigen, waktu kita berlari kita akan guna banyak oksigen. Okay, the efficiency of the molecular activity is equal to this equation. Okay, delta V the work and delta energy. E equal to 1, perfectly efficient use of energy. Kita hasilkan energi ni, kita spend energi ni. Okay, maknanya kalau kita ada RM100, kita spend semua RM100. Okay, so E equal to 0, a complete waste of energy. Okay, so kita produce 100 tapi hasilnya kosong. Okay, so these are the catabolic rate of average 65 kg male and the consumption of oxygen. Okay, so these are the power consumption of our organ, and these are the power consumed at rest. Okay, so you can see that oxygen consumption is 67, 48, and other. Okay, body mass ratio, percentage of the body mass ratio. Okay, Okay, so the total energy conversion rate of a person that rests is called the basal metabolic rate. So we can call BMR. Okay, so here you can see from the graph the BMR for a certain number of animal, including us, men. Okay, so the rat is the lowest, and the cow in this case is the highest. Okay, so now we want to see how the animal thermoregulate the temperature in our the body. Okay, so the brain, for example, can be easily damaged when temperature exceeds 42 degrees Celsius for a prolonged period. So we need to keep our brain below 42 degree. And body temperature start to drop after submersion in ice water, and hypothermia exists, and thus may follow. Okay, so it tried our body try to adjust the temperature, but if in icy water for a long time, so we cannot adjust the temperature, so we are going to die. Okay, so the animal have a variety of mechanism to avoid such stress. So kalau panas kita berpeluh sweating, kalau sejuk kita uh, bergetar. Okay, and we cannot for bird cooling by flapping of wing, fluffing of feather, vasodilation, and vasoconstriction during the wall of the blood vessel. Good. So this one is how can we avoid the temperature drop in our body. Okay. So here the first law of thermodynamics, delta Q to delta U minus delta V, delta W, and the heat flux for in or inside to outside or outside to inside our body equal to delta U over delta T. So using the Clapeyron's law, okay, so the heat flux at the rest is equal to this equation where m is the prefactor for mammal prefactor. So for mammal is 3.4 and m is the our body mass. Okay, not or 0.7. And looking at this and Newton law of cooling from our physics, temperature of a resting organism equal to T organism, T environment plus this number or this equation. Okay, so where H is the coefficient of the heat transfer. Okay, so we try to adjust our temperature, we try to adjust using this value. Okay, so and heat transfer through our fat. Okay, so kalau kita di tempat sejuk banyak lemak. Okay, the heat transfer for that fat is equal to this equation. So the best shape, and you can see that m equal to m to the power of 0.5, smaller than this 0.75. Okay, so the best shape to keep warm is the spherical shape in this case. Okay, kalau gemuk lagi selesa duduk di tempat sejuk. Okay. Okay, so adakah size advantage to our temperature regulation? So if we see in this case M 0.7A, that is, and this other surface area. Okay, so from this equation, increase slowly with L. Okay, so the L size. Thus, a larger aquatic mammal does not need a thick layer of blubber as a small aquatic animal. Okay, so the length is uh, high or in increase. So the temperature from inside the body will uh, need a longer time to to come to our skin, okay, or to the skin. So there will be less temperature different in the body. Okay, so these are thick layer blubber. A larger aquatic mammal contain less fat. What we want to say. Okay, so an aquatic mammal could increase its metabolic rate above resting rate by exercise and thus increase body temperature. Okay, so here meaning that this one for example the whale. Okay, so if we want to increase the body temperature, so just do the exercise or do the swimming. Okay, so in a hot area, the thermoregulation is equal to this equation. Okay, so for 100 kilogram per meter squared animal, the equation is equal to this value. Okay, so the temperature depends on the size. So if the size is small, R equal to 0.01 meter, so the change only uh, increase a few degree. Okay, so R equal to 0.1 meter, so you can see that it already increased 100 degree Celsius. And R equal to 1 meter, so this increased to 1000 uh, degree Celsius. Okay, so these are the in this case we can say that these are the fat, the thickness of the fat. Okay, so these are the like we see before. These are 3.4 for any mammal. So these are the value for three factor value for animal in our work. Okay, so marsupial 2.3, lizard 0.28, salamander 0.038. Okay, so if we see 0.38, 0.038 here, okay, here the plugs will be much faster in the is is salamander. Okay, so the salamander will try to adjust the heat temperature more rapid. Okay, the last one, the human body heat carried out by thermal conduction. So how we lost the heat or how we lost the temperature. So heat carried out by thermal conduction through tissue or the skin, convection through the blood stream. Okay, so the heat or the temperature will heat up the blood system and it will move around in our circulatory system. So body temperature 24 degrees Celsius if the surface area is 1.7 meters squared. So the environment equal to 20 degrees Celsius. So the flux is equal to or the flux equal to 100 watt per second. Okay, so to reach 37 degrees Celsius, so we need to increase our metabolic rate, okay, to about 425 watt. So in colder climate, so humans tend to eat more. Overheating is therefore unavoidable if we prolong intense activity. Okay, so this one is for the climate. So kalau kita berlatih atau buat buat exercise ataupun contohnya main rugby, walaupun kita main rugby 80 minit tanpa henti, there will be no sweat, tak ada langsung. Okay, sweating increase the transfer coefficient from 15 to about 300 and can reduce the excess temperature by as much as 20 degree. Okay, so this one, if kita berada dekat tempat panas, kita akan berpeluh dan kita akan reduce the temperature in our body. Okay, so thank you.